Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important example for reactive form, where we will see how to use form control with disable. Okay, so there might be some situation in your program where in your project where we are supposed to implement the form control, and there we want to make sure that it is disabled for the user. Okay, so for example, you are preparing one form for the user, and there you want to make sure that when user log in into that form, or maybe when user access that form, at that time email should be pre-filled and user should not be able to edit it. So in that situation, what we will do, we will simply utilize this approach to add the logic, to add the disable logic. Okay, now we will see how to implement it, but before we proceed further, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to use reactive form control with disable. Okay, so now let's move ahead. Here you can see I have this heading, like I have mentioned two heading here, h1 h2, and after this what we will do, we will simply add one form here. But before we directly define the form, we should import the prerequisite, right? So what are the prerequisites? These are the things that are mandatory before we define anything. Okay, so for that, let's go to app.component.ts file, and here like we will use all the prerequisites. I'm sure like you have already watched this session where we import reactive form module and ngif, right? If not, maybe you can refer the Tech Sharmit digital course book, because there you will find more than 3000 plus free resources, which is available in both Hindi as well as English language. So as per your convenience, you can go through it and consume the content. Okay, all right, so now we are in this place. Here we are supposed to define the required thing. So first thing that is required for us is the reactive form module. Reactive form module, because this is something that I will be implementing, or you can say that I'm going to create here, reactive forms module. Now once this is added, now next what we will do, we will simply define one variable here, and that variable we want to make sure that user should not be able to edit it. Okay, so what we will do here, we will expand this class, and then I will put here email. Okay, then we will write here new form control. Remember, when you press enter on form control, it will automatically import it here. So if it is not imported, please do import it, because this is very mandatory thing. Without this, we won't be able to use this form control. Now once this is added, then you can use the parenthesis, and inside this parenthesis we will use curly braces this time, because here we have to specify both value as well as the disabled. So for that you can write here value, then colon, and here you can put the sample email, let's say test@gmail.com. okay, then you can put a comma over here, then we will write here disabled, and then after a colon we will write here true. So overall what this line will do, just one more thing, we should put semicolon over here over here. Okay, fine. So what this line basically doing here, it will help us to tell the browser or the application that we want to set the default email as test email, and we want to make sure that disable is true for this variable. Why? Because in that way only we will be able to disable it for the user, and we want to always make sure that user should not be able to edit this data. If user is able to edit, that is wrong. Okay, so this is what we have planned. Now what is the new thing here, because earlier we were not using these curly braces, and some of you might be thinking like, what will happen if I directly put this value instead of curly braces, will it accept? No, it will not. Let me show you. So if I remove the curly braces, you can see it is throwing error. So just pass it like this only. Okay, now we have this variable, so I think we are good to go and design the rest of the form. So for that, let's go to app.component.html. Here I will write here two horizontal rows. just to separate out the actual heading with the forms, because we have already put two heading here. One is Angular course by Tech Sharmit, and the second one is reactive form in Angular form control with disable. Okay, so let's design the form now. Here I will write simply the form, and in this form we will mention the label first. In label I will mention let's say email, because this is related to email field, right? And then we will write here the input field, and firstly what I will do, I will directly pass it as a normal input field, okay, so that you can see the difference. So here I will write text. I just specified the type, that's it. Now just save this application and run it. So for running it, I will run ng-server -- open, enter. Just wait for a few seconds and then it will show you the output in the browser screen. And then we will verify like what all headings we have or input field or everything are related to that. So you can see browser is open, and here we have all the required stuff like headings and horizontal rows, as well as the button, not button but the input field. So firstly we have got this email heading number 1 that shows Angular course by Tech Sharmit, and then we have second heading that shows reactive form in Angular form control with disable. Then after this we have one horizontal row, one label for the email, and one input field. And also we have this horizontal row that will help us to separate out these two things with the actual heading. Now here we can see user is able to write something, right? But this is what we are not supposed, right? We are supposed to create an input field that should be pre-filled, and also user should not be able to edit it. But these all things we want to implement with the help of form control. So for that reason what we will do now, we will simply attach that variable which we just created with the name email. Now how to attach it? Just to attach it, what you can do, you can put a space over here, then simply write here form control in a square brackets. So form control, here I will write form control equal, and then the name of the variable. So my variable name is email. That's it. So these are the only steps that you need to follow. Now see the magic. Here we can see we have this input field which contains the address, email address as test@gmail.com, which is perfect, right? And also user are not able to edit it. I'm trying to edit it, but it is not editing it, because we have already mentioned that this should be disabled. Disabled should be true here. Okay, now some of you might be thinking like, what will happen if I make it as false? So it will act as a default. So you can see it is coming with a default value, but we are able to edit also, right? If I want to make it at test@gmail.in, so it will accept it. Okay, so if you want to make sure that only pre-default value should be there, then in that case you can make it as false, although by default is also false, so it is not that mandatory. But in case if you want to make sure that yes, it should be logged for the user, it should not be editable mode, then in that case we will write here true. So in that situation it will not allow user to accept the data from user. Clear? So I think these are the all steps that we are supposed to follow when we want to implement form control with disable. And I hope this session is clear to all of you. Now what you can do, like instead of doing the practice with one input field, because for now we are just saving the time and we are covering the all topic, that's why we are doing it separately. Otherwise what you can do, you can implement it with multiple input fields. Just try to create a form where we have multiple input field, and in that input field we should have all the required data and mandatory data. There you can try to implement this thing. Or maybe what you can do, whatever examples we have covered so far, just merge it into one single form. Then only you will be able to understand whether you know the concepts or not, because individually we have learned it, but now it's your time for the practice. So just do the practice. If you have any question, queries or suggestion related to anything, or if you are facing any kind of roadblocker, just feel free to reach out to me through the comment section. I would be more than happy to answer all your queries there, and we will try our best to implement this feedback also. if any suggestion related to this, or maybe for any particular playlist. Clear? So yeah, that's all for today. See you in the next session with new topics. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.